Hello everyone and welcome back to Age of Nagash, which is a channel dedicated to Age of Sigmar. And in this video we are going to be talking about why play the Goretide. So who are the Goretide? Essentially they are one of the sub-allegiances for the Blades of Khorne. So if you're still wondering why should you play Blades of Khorne, go check out that video, which will appear at the end of this video in my playlist of Blades of Khorne, or you can go onto my channel on the homepage and find Blades of Khorne there in the playlist section. So with the Goretide, the reason why I'm quite excited to do this video in particular is because the Goretide mainly focuses on the mortal units. When I say mainly, I mean predominantly it focuses on mortal units. And there's not loads of content out there I've seen for like Blades of Khorne mortal stuff. And when I mainly say mortal, it's things like your Bloodbound, but can also be things like Slaves of Darkness as well. So I'm aware that some people may say it's not a lot of point talking about this army because it's not the most competitive army, which in all honesty, I would agree with, but I do think it has play, and a lot of the times when I do these videos I cover armies that aren't top meta because I think that it's important to not just ignore them and to see how we can make the most out of them. So if you're wondering what a why play video is, you haven't actually seen one before, essentially in this video where we go over the sub-allegiance of the Goretide, I'm going to read out all the information we have for it. I'll start with some of the lore and then we'll read about the rules. And when I read over this, I'm going to be talking about like the strengths and weaknesses that I think, from my point of view, as I'm not a Khorne player, but I have got experience playing against Khorne a while ago, and as an experienced Age of Sigmar player, I can give you my points of view of what I think is good and what I think is bad in a sort of strengths versus weaknesses thing. So hopefully, by the end of this video, you'll know if playing the Goretide is something you would like to do, or maybe look at one of the other sub-allegiances for the Blades of Khorne, as they have quite a few to choose from. And also, if you are particularly new and you're wondering what a sub-allegiance is and what do I mean by allegiances, go check out the last video I did, or just see on the channel where I did a beginner's friendly guide to what allegiances and sub-allegiances are, just in case you're a bit new and you're not really too sure. Check that out as well. So before we get into the meat and bones of this video, I do want to, as always, do a massive shout out to my biggest supporters, which are going to be my patrons and my YouTube members. Because of these people, I can continue to make videos to try and help people get into Age of Sigmar and continue their Age of Sigmar journey. So my biggest supporters amongst them is going to be my Morgasts, which are going to be Johnathan H, Filq, Bleed Red and Christopher G. Thank you so much for your continued donation, guys. It's making a huge difference towards the channel, keeping it going, and it really does make a huge impact. So thank you so much for being wonderful people. And then my vampires as well, who give a lot to the channel, is going to be Mir, Martin S, Rouse321, David A, Ronni H, Doug P, SpareBear and Christopher C. Thank you so much as well for your continued support. And then my Necromancers, which is Jacq.l, RadiationRiley, AW77, Sagas, WolfNick, Michal W, Quad, Cranky Wombat, Christopher F, Christopher C, James S, Steve T and Robin S. Thank you all as well for your help towards keeping this channel going. And if anyone would like to support the channel, you'll find a join button next to the subscribe button and also a link to my Patreon at the top of the description down below. But we can get into all of that later, because for now we are going to be talking about the Goretide. So the mere mention of the Goretide is enough to strike fear into the hearts of even the most valiant warriors. Led by their dreaded warlord Khorne, conquering 1,000 empires, the blood-drunk killers have cut a gory path across the whole the realm of fire. Where the Goretide march, carnage and slaughter abound. The Goretide is a vast and long-lived tribe of battle-starved berserkers, crazed cannibals and relentless butchers. They swarm across the battlefield, overcoming any who dare to fight and butchering and enslaving the rest. Behind them lies a trail of smoking ruins and still dripping tributes to Khorne. At the fiery heart of the Goretide strives Khorne, the warlord who has risen from savage tribesman to the scourge of Ashkree. He is perhaps the mightiest lord of Khorne in all the mortal realms, and his dedication to slaughter in Khorne's name is second to none. It is Khorne's vow to one day conquer all the realm of fire as tribute to the blood god, killing or enslaving its entire population. Imbued with great powers, Khorne has already lived many lifetimes, all of them steeped in bloodshed. He has fought for so long that none now live who can recall all the names of the nations he has brought low. For their populations were not only slain, but their cities levelled, and all who remembered them hunted out of existence. In battle the Goretide attack with sudden ferocity and speed that surprises even those foes who had prepared for their onslaught. It is said that to hear their vile blood chants or to gaze upon their banners and icons is to see certain death. And that's just a little bit of lore there for them from their battle tome. Just a little heads up, I can't remember how you pronounce the Realm of Fire Ashgrief, so just bear with me on that one. But then going on to the rules, and what you'll see is there'll be a photo of the abilities on your screen. Now, apologies if it's a bit too small, a bit too blurry. Essentially, I'll be reading this out anyway, so if you can't read it, don't worry. But if you can read along, it means you can quickly refer to it if you've forgotten something I just mentioned. So, the Tireless Conquerors is going to be the main ability you get here without going into the command ability, the command trait, and the artifact. So, Tireless Conquerors. So, entire empires have crumbled beneath the relentless campaigns of the Goretide. You can reroll wound rolls of 1 for attacks made with melee weapons by friendly Goretide mortal units wholly within 12 inches of an objective marker, which I think is quite interesting because obviously you're going to be moving towards those objective markers and you're going to be near them. So things like, if I was just to say Blood Warriors, that are fairly, not that they're survivable, but when they die they get to pile in an attack, so I see them as quite a defensive unit. So what you can do is you can give them twin axes, so they reroll 1s to hit. And then if they've got this as well going on, that means that they're re-rolling 1s to wound as well. Obviously, it depends on what battle planes you're playing. Like, for example, if you're playing Blade's Edge, there are loads of objectives for you to always try and be wholly within 12 inches of them. But if you're playing, let's say, Taking Hold, or Knife to the Heart, whatever it's called, where there's like one objective in your territory and one objective in the opponent's territory, you might not be making the most out of this. But on average, I'd say battle plans have 4 objectives. I'd say 3-4 on average. So yeah, it's pretty good there. I like that. And like I said, you can make your units, particularly in obviously Khorne, have lots of attacks. That's one of the things. The one thing I will say though is there are ways, multiple ways really, to actually get access to reroll 1s to wound or reroll wound rolls. But what I will say is that they're often something like the Bloodstoker ability that can only be 1 unit, or it's like a command ability from the Mighty Lord of Khorne on Juggernaut as an example. There may be some others out there. Like I said, I don't play a zombie, but from what I've researched and seen, you've got other ways to get those rerolls, but nothing really as passive as this. And also, just to say, I mentioned Blood Warriors. You've also got like Blood Reavers who have got like, they can have the twin weapons as well. So like the Reaver Blades, I believe they're called, where they reroll 1s to hit, and now they can reroll 1s to wound, which can really help because you can trying to help buffing your hitting and to wound rolls to try and get it down to make it even better if you would like to. So then going on to the command ability, which is Ever Onward. So at a Bart's command, the Goretide's battle line advances with such speed to spill blood off their foe. And then going into the actual ability itself, so you can use this command ability before you make a run roll for 1 friendly Goretide Blood Reaver or Goretide Blood Warriors unit wholly within 16 inches of a friendly model with this command ability. If you do so, that run roll is treated as being a 6. In addition, that unit can run and still charge later in the same turn. So when it means like a unit or like a model with this ability, it basically means your heroes, your Goretide heroes essentially, which is nice because it means that you usually spend a command point to make something run a flat 6 if you need to, but then they can still run and charge later. So you can really get some, not like the fastest army, this isn't going to be, ills like Deepkin or like Camelot's Death Riders or something like that, but you can make them really, really fast still for what they are, mortals on the ground wearing boots. So yeah, I quite like that. And to be fair, like I was saying earlier, that your Blood Reavers and your Blood Warriors kind of fit in here nicely anyway because of the generic Tireless Conquerors ability that we just talked about. So it kind of influences you to take them for the command ability as well, as it doesn't work on anyone else. So the command trait. So it says a Goretide general must have this command trait instead of one listed on pages 72, 73. Essentially that just means that as you're taking a sub-allegiance, you have to be taking these command traits and this artifact as like attacks. Sometimes they've been good, sometimes they won't be. So let's see what this one is like. So this is Hew the Foe. So The mighty swings of this fighter's blades invoke the wrath of Khorne himself. Add 1 to the damage characteristics of this general's melee weapons. Yeah, that's alright. I mean, you've got some fighty heroes, but because they're mortals, they're not massive sledgehammers, but +1 damage can help to make them more punchy. I'm not going to argue with that, but it's not going to make them, Death Stars or anything. But it's not as bad as some of the command traits you have to take with these things. And then we've got Artifact of Power. So the first Goretide hero to receive an Artifact of Power must be given the Thronebreaker's Talk. So the Thronebreaker's Talk, gifted to one who has personally slain a king. This demon-possessed neck piece throbs with protective energy. So ignore modifiers, positives and negatives, when making save rolls for attacks that target this model. It's alright. I mean, it means you will never benefit from the cover save. But it means that you have got basically an ethereal amulet. So that's something, if you're not too aware, basically made you ethereal, which meant you can be targeted by shots that are like -3, what the enemy is just going to use to try and snipe your heroes off the board, and they can't because your modifiers like that, or a Stonehorn charges in, or many other creatures out there of like -3 rend or -2 rend. It's just going to bounce off this guy, which could be useful in something like, I don't know, Bloodsecrator you want to keep alive, or your General you want to keep alive. So yeah, it's alright. I don't think the command trait and the artifact, I don't think they're outstanding and amazing, but I think that they are not bad. I think they're quite good. I think the fact that they're ignoring the modifiers is pretty good, to be fair. There's not many things out there that can give you that unless you're like Nighthorn or something. So yeah, I quite like that. And also what I like is I mentioned I don't play Khorne, which kind of is true, but not true, because I do have half a Khorne army, because I have the Khorne Dragon from Forge World, which some of you may already know, because it's a magnificent model and it's a massive dragon, so of course I'm going to buy it. And Khorne is generally very cool. So I've got this dragon that I've put so much time and effort into it, changed the rider, all that sort of thing, converted that up. And I've got it as a Khorne Vampire Lord, basically riding a massive zombie dragon. And he would actually work in here, because he won't benefit from the command ability, but he'll be able to reroll 1s to wound, because he's a Goretide mortal unit at that point, if he's wholly within 12 inches of objective marker. But thinking about it, his base is so big that it may be quite hard to achieve that, but I think you could. I don't think it'd be too hard. As long as you've got your positioning right, essentially, and terrain's not too much in the way, but all that sort of thing. So this does also encourage you to take Slaves of Darkness in here, because it means that you'll benefit from the reroll 1s to wound. But what I will say is just, it's a shame the command ability doesn't let you do it on just mortal Khorne units. Maybe there's something that would break the game if they did that I can't see. But I think it would massively step up the power level for this. I'm not saying it would then become the most powerful thing in the game, but it would definitely help, especially if you could bring in Slaves of Darkness units. And I don't know, you're making Chaos Knights now at that point. What would that be? So they can run and charge, so they'd get +1 to their run from the Hornblower as well. So they move 10 normally, so now they're moving 17, and now they can charge. And they get +1 to that as well. So they're going minimum 20 inches, basically. So, it just add loads more playstyles. So I quite like that. So I think this could definitely be better. But I think the overall strengths that I like is it's improving your Blood Warriors and it's improving your Blood Reavers, obviously. It's generally improving your mortal units as well. And I think, to be honest, with the Goretide, so we can't really talk about the Goretide without talking about Khorne. Now, I'm not going to have his rules up in a moment, but he's basically one of the first named characters we got for Age of Sigmar. And he's got a command ability. So it's Lord of the Goretide. So you can use his command ability at the start of the charge phase. If you do so, pick a friendly model with this command ability that is a general. So Khorne has to be a general, so you lose out on your command trait. But until the end of that phase, you can reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made by friendly Goretide units wholly within 6 inches of that model. So like I said, you can already do that with your Blood Warriors and Blood Reavers, but in case you want to go like Meat Ripper Axes, which you got for your Blood Reavers, so they've got that -1 rend, but then they lose that reroll 1 to hit, they can get it from here, again, from Khorne. Again, with the Blood Warriors, if you want to give them like the Spike Fist, so on 6s to save, they do a mortal wound back to the enemy, which I think is pretty good, because if you want to have them as quite like a defensive block, because when they die, they're fighting as well, and also they're stabbing the enemy, which is quite good as well. I think they've got quite a lot of play there. In terms of being flexible and how you want to load out your guys, if you want to go all in on the Goretide. And I think really that's all I have to kind of say to the Goretide. I know this one's a little bit quicker, this video. Essentially, I really haven't had as much time today to crack on with the videos. This week's been a bit hectic. Last week I made like a video every day, but this week not so much. But I wanted to get this Goretide video out to you guys sooner rather than later. And I think I've really sort of covered the main points here. Again, I'll be doing like a long in-depth Khorne series at some point in the future. Probably by that point I'll get a new book, to be honest with you, as this book's been out for a little while. But I thought I haven't made too much Khorne content. It'd be quite nice to do it. And I was happy to see that you guys voted for the Goretide on your poll. If there's anything you think I've missed, because remember, like I said, I'm not an expert of this army. This is just from my like an outsider point of view of what I think of the Goretide. Let me know and everyone else know in the comments down below if you think there's something that I could have mentioned that's beneficial for people who want to play this. Also, if you've got any questions or anything about the Goretide, I'll do my best to answer them as well in the comments, and hopefully other people would as well. And if you did enjoy the video, what I do want to say is if you could absolutely do me a favour by smashing the like button, smashing the subscribe button, and smashing the bell notification, because, like I said, one of the interesting things about it is with the Goretide as an example, I don't really do much Khorne content, as I mentioned. So if I see this get quite a few likes, it's going to encourage me to do more Khorne content in the future. So if you do like Khorne, make sure you smash the like button or you enjoy the video. If you think someone else will benefit from the video as well, give it a share as well. And all these like free clicks of the like, subscribe, the bell notification, they're completely free to do so. And basically, it's a big way for you to show to me that you enjoy the videos, because it really helps me out on YouTube, essentially. And like I said, it's a free, so it's a win-win by pressing free clicks. However, if you would like to massively support the channel, again, you can become a patron or YouTube member by, like I said, clicking the join button next to the subscribe button. It will take you to a page where you don't have to, but you can look at becoming a YouTube member. What does that mean? It doesn't really make anything with YouTube. Basically, it's just a way for you to be able to support my channel, Age of Nagash, even by just going £1 a month or something. It just massively helps out the channel. And also, if you click on the link at the top of the description down below to my Patreon, just give them $1 a month as an example. Sounds small, but it makes a huge difference. So if you would like to do that, guys, I'd be over the moon. But if you can't do that, no worries at all. Just smash the like, subscribe, and bell notification button, like I already said. And most importantly, though, I'm just glad that you came here tonight to check out this video. So what I will say is I thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Any questions, anything like that, leave it down below. Or any advice you would like to give to anyone else who wants to play the Goretide, if you're experienced, put that in the comments down below as well. I'd be massively appreciative of that as well. And yeah, so guys, I hope you have a good rest of your day. And remember till next time to stay safe, wear a mask, wear your gloves, stay hygienic, so that means that we can actually start maybe playing the Goretide. Who knows, I might try out with the Khorne Dragon by the time we can all game again. And more importantly though, than all of that, is remember until next time, that Nagash is all, and all is one in Nagash.